Alright guys, thank you for checking in on Stormtopia.com and the Stormtopia.com Facebook page for a daily weather update. Right now, it is frigid across most of the continental U.S., getting affected by this tongue of cold air from the upper Great Lakes into the upper Midwest, just extending southeast into the Ohio Valley and the northeast. Wind chills, it feels like it's below zero in a lot of spots, and that trend is just going to continue over the next couple of days. But I think most of the typical weather we need's focus is not focused on that, but focused on the potential for a storm early next week. Alright guys, let's take a look at some of the new data we have in here. Here's a 6C GFS, and what you see here is by the time we make our way out to this evening into tomorrow morning, low pressure center is making its way southeast out of the Rockies, makes it through the plains, and that should be the case for the rest of today into the weekend. Likely a couple inches of snow, and then you see here's the low, light to moderate snow by tomorrow afternoon through the heartland. But then tomorrow evening is when things get interesting. You start to tap the Gulf, okay, for moisture, and that's when things get interesting. You see a low pressure center skirt this way, and here by early Tuesday morning you're snowing moderately here for the southern mid-Atlantic, as you're getting maybe even snowing heavily for parts of North Carolina. And then you see that low center kind of dig in as more cold air gets pulled in out of the north and west, so you end up seeing snow here for a lot of the mid-Atlantic through the day on Tuesday and through the evening hours of Tuesday on the GFS. Now this would be an all-snow event based on the GFS, a very far easterly track, and something I don't think we'll verify. Here's the European. Dun 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 dun. The Euro, I mean, if you know anything about models, you know the Euro has just been like crazy recently. Here's the Euro, and here's what the Euro wants to do here. It develops a low and out of New Orleans, pushes it east. Lot of Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic moisture gets tapped, along with the very cold air across the northeast. So you see snow here from the deep south into eastern portions of the Tennessee Valley. Cold air damming in the southern Appalachians. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So you see snow there. Rain along the immediate 995, maybe a mix once you get into the big cities. Okay? And you say, okay, but to zoom in on what the European shows across the northeast in this quintessential meteorological bomb, here's what we're seeing here. The low pressure center is getting tapped so much moisture from the south and so much cold from the north that it is a meteorological bomb. Here this is 988, 984, very strong low. You end up, this is essentially south and east of this line, it's all rain, and that is the 546 line. North and west of this line it's all snow. So in between we see a mix, and you see that's why I'm expecting a mix for most of the big cities. Maybe New York City goes over some rain. We'll have to see. But again, this is just a major winter storm here once you get inland. And I said I'd talk about cold air damming. What does that mean? Well, that is especially noted, the whole idea of cold air damming. I mean, the Canadian also shows another quintessential meteorological bomb, but the cold air damming here, you see essentially it happens before the storm arrives. If I can find a good example of some cold air damming here on the map. Alright, here out to 84 hours on the Euro. Let's push our way out to 84 hours. And this is when I think cold air damming is noted, maybe a little before. Okay, here, this is perfect. 84, yep, 84 hours on the European. See these little divots, one, and they're basically right over the Appalachians. One's over here, and the thickness lines. That means that you got colder air from the north that just lodges itself and dams itself into the Appalachians. That's why when the precip comes through, it stays snow. From like, I'd say Lynchburg, maybe all the way back to, you know, Richmond, we'll just have to see. State College, those types of areas, they stay all snow. Same deal on the Canadian. Canadian, European, in pretty good agreement at this point. Okay? So, this is looking more and more, again guys, like a high impact winter storm for at least some portions of the northeast. This is what we would be talking about here if some of these models were to verify, and I think there's a decent chance that they would, it's, again, rain along the immediate coast. Again, look at that. Look how close the call is for a spot like Richmond, okay? Close call. But rain from North Carolinas, from Norfolk, Delmarva, Jersey Shores, parts of southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And then you get inland, and it's a mix. A mix of possibly sleet and freezing rain, and then it could be a mix of snow and rain. It could be starting as snow, go over to rain, rain to snow, whatever. And then inland it's all snow because of the cold air damming. The blue is where we've got the cold air damming, and it's snowing just about everywhere. Once you get inland, from like Berkshire County, Massachusetts, through interior New England, all the way back out to the eastern Great Lakes, it's snowing. And at the low pressure center, when that low pressure center passes off the Delmarva and takes a track like this maybe, these areas would be closest to the low pressure center, closest areas seeing enough cold air damming for snow, and that would be a major heavy snow, wind event, and I might be a little afraid to put this out, but possibly even a blizzard for parts of the Appalachians. So, high impact winter storm on the way. We'll have details coming up.